Thank you for sticking with Fox Weather. We are continuing to talk about the tsunami wave that has actively been impacting the Hawaiian Islands. We are unpacking the fact that we've had 4-foot waves already in Honolulu, I believe is the name where that was recorded. Yes. But it's really Kauai and Oahu that have seen the first of the impacts right now. We're waiting for the Big Island, Honolulu. We're starting to see some larger waves here as well.
Yeah, these waves definitely look a little bit bigger than they were before. We got that other camera from Honolulu. That one was where you could really see them. Oh, okay, they switched it up. Okay, well, honestly, I'm a fan of that switch because it's a little bit of a better view. I like that angled view. You can get a little bit better of a perspective. But yeah, it's going to be Maui next. We have seen the water rise a little bit in Maui already. And this is going to be waves, guys. Keep in mind. Look, if you're looking for the one big wave tsunami, like the thing that you see in movies, that's not going to happen tonight. It's going to be a long night for several hours. I mean, we've still got waves that are coming through Midway Islands, farther off toward the west. And they're actually pretty close to on the same order of some of the waves that are starting to roll through Hawaii right now. This is a process. It's a long process. The water doesn't appear to be that high, but then all of a sudden it's pushed pretty far inland. Yeah. This is what a tsunami's like.
Yeah. Governor Josh Green, so the governor of Hawaii, saying that they're okay right now. So at least we have confirmation from local officials and heads of state, and they're saying we're okay. But Ari, you've been talking about this is a long process. 3 to 6 hours is when we are expecting to see the biggest waves, but this continues for about 6 to 24 hours. We have those medium waves still impactful, but not necessarily requiring evacuation to higher ground. And then we could still see some unsettled ocean for the next couple of days. So that's the situation we're at right now. We've seen some of the higher wave heights on Maui where they've already reached 6 feet thus far. But this has been a long lead time for this. We had a magnitude 8.8 earthquake. That is what triggered this entire event. That was off the east coast of Russia. That was 2:32 a.m. That's back for local time over into Russia. But really the alarm bell started to go off for the Hawaiian Islands at 3, 4 o'clock, potentially even earlier than that.
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, the earthquake happened so long ago. I mean, gosh, it was, I think a little bit before 9, it was like 8:20 p.m. Eastern time. So it was over 6 hours ago at this point. I can't believe that was that long ago already. The other thing that I want to make people aware of that's happening right now as we go through this is we're changing tide cycles a little bit, right? So initially the timing of this was really not lined up very well. When you looked at the time of the arrival of these waves, that lined up pretty close to high tide. And now we're starting to go in the other direction. So that's going to help us also. I think there's a chance that this might not end up as bad as it could have been. I still think we've got a long night ahead because there are a bunch of waves coming in, but I'm not seeing anything that's just like totally outrageous. I mean, you feel like if this was going to be like a massive tsunami that will be remembered, like we probably would have seen at least on some of these cameras by now, right? Like at least the beaches underwater to some degree.
I agree with you there, Ari. I mean, I don't think we're talking anything remotely similar because I think when everybody hears the word tsunami, you're immediately going to think Japan or Indonesia. We're not to that magnitude. And so I just want to make that clear to folks who are listening, at least so far. And that's really not what the projected highest wave heights are. The estimate could be anywhere for the higher waves, 8 to 12 feet. So far, we've seen 6 feet for the highest of the tsunami waves impacting spots like Kauai out towards Oahu. We're waiting for the Big Island to really start to see the worst of the impacts. Kaanapali Landing. Ari, which island is that on? I know you have the
that is on Maui, I believe. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, I think this is on Maui.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the landing one, right? Yeah, so Maui, a little bit farther toward the east, and, they've already started to experience some of the waves, too. This is going to come in a bunch of different waves, by the way. It's not just one wave, so this is going to last for the next several hours for sure. And, it's interesting looking at these cameras because sometimes it recedes a little bit, and then sometimes it comes back up, and that's what it's like, right? So the waves come in one after another. I'm already, look, I'm just going to report what I'm seeing here, and I'm seeing a lot of people on X that are saying, all right, it's done and over with. It was no big deal once again. Now, I don't necessarily think those people are right. I'm just reporting that, that kind of talk is starting to happen. Let's see. Yeah, and, I'm also seeing information that larger and larger waves are coming in, even in Honolulu, which I got to remind myself, I believe this is in Kauai, which is the farthest west island, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go. Can we come out to Max here super quick? So the way that, you know, you would think that it pans out is it's one big wave here that comes across all the islands. It's the westernmost ones first, like Kauai, and then it's Oahu, and then as it's moving toward the east, things start to progressively get better along the western islands. It hasn't been that way. I mean, there are multiple waves that have been coming in here. So, you know, initially, and we all saw this together, it was a little over an hour ago, started to see the water recede over in Kauai. There's plenty of time lapses where you can see the water recedes, the water comes up. And as this is progressing toward the east, and we are starting to see some of those waves hit Oahu and Maui, we're still seeing reports of the water continuing to rise in Kauai. So it just gives you an idea. I mean, the wave is you know, something on the order of this. It's like this very long period of waves that's going to come through, and it's going to last for several hours. Now, I do think there are a lot of possibilities at this point. I want to be careful, and I don't want to poo-poo this too quickly,
right.
Okay? I also think it's possible maybe it's not as bad as it was supposed to be, but I mean, look at the graph. I mean, it's not like it's not happening.
Yeah, you know, Ari, I really do think that it's the movie effect. You know, we watched Twister or Twisters, and you think that that's what a tornado is going to look like when it's in front of you. And they did a really good job at that CGI. But when you are thinking about a tsunami movie, they're going to amplify the impacts. Whether or not we see this huge wave, and at this point it doesn't look like it's likely we'll get a 12, 20-foot wave crashing towards Hawaii, this is still what a tsunami is. It's still a tsunami. We've seen tsunami waves of 4 to as high as 6 feet. And just doing some digging, they said that the receding wave can sometimes look more dramatic, especially if you're standing closer to a coastline. When it comes to the shape of the coastline, it can draw it out even and make it look more dramatic. But a lot of the time, the peak of that wave is going to be much higher. So you just have to keep that in mind, that this is a flowing scenario. And even for the Sand Islands, we keep bringing that back, but it is a precursor to what the Hawaiian Islands will get. They had about a 3-hour lull period where they were seeing some waves, but not very dramatic, and then they had their highest crest yet. So Hawaii, I think, you know, we're seeing some stronger waves. It'll calm down for a second, and then you may get the highest one yet to come in the next couple of hours.